or do they have any idea when they're going to pick it up again?
So it sounds like we should take no action tonight.
I would say, yeah, that would be the best. It's probably going to be a passover at town meeting, just your FinCom before town meeting.
Okay, so we'll take no action on Article 25 tonight.
That was
Article
actually
13.
24 that, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize.
25.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's correct. Sorry. I'll mute myself.
Article 13.
Article 13, I don't think I will need any transfer, but we can do the same thing we just did with the first accounts you had tonight with Mary. If you do want to modify them, you could take care of that with a simple vote of the Finance Committee. Right now, we're looking comfortable on both salaries and expenses. We thought we had a crisis with one of the pumps today, but the guys seem to get it back and running without much to do. So, and even at that, we've got some cushion.
Okay, so we'll take no action on Article 13 tonight.
$96,000 savings. So,
Article 12.
that's trash. So Dennis, I don't know what you go to this year.
My note is that 12 was already done.
Oh, 12 was already done, but the question is whether we go back and do that again through just a FinCom vote, or whether we leave it on town meeting. I would say do it on a FinCom vote. Rescind your previous vote, which was up to $40,000 transfer from salaries to expenses. And we'll see how things go in the next week or two. Hopefully I'll get a better idea of where we stand when I get the pay rec from the contractor this week, and I'll take it from there.
Okay, so if we potentially address this in a future meeting, why don't we just leave Article 12 the way we voted it back on April 21, if that's okay with everybody?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So the other one is the mid-range one.
Which one is
11.
that?
11 is the one that is trash.
Okay, I don't have that on my list.
Yeah, I have nothing for that. That would be Dennis's call.
Yeah, there's no action on that.
So Article 11, no action. Okay.
No action, we're going to pass.
Could we do Department 750 debt service?
I think is that you guys are all set with me? Is that true?
Tina, is that correct?
I believe that's all I have.
Gotta go hang some pictures for my mother. Okay. All right. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Don.
Good night, Don.
Yeah, Mary, could you walk us through our Department 750 debt service?
Absolutely. So I sent out handouts to you guys that included the budget request for Department 750, and it looked like that. And then I also sent a supporting schedule that outlined the debt service payments for FY21 that look like this. And I believe you guys all received those emails. So what we are asking, what we are requesting is an FY21 general fund debt service budget in the amount of $5,997,195. And that is to cover principal, interest, both short-term and long-term interest and bond issuance costs. Any questions on that?
So we're looking at the sheets for 2021?
Correct.
So I've looked at this previously and I don't have any questions. Does anybody else on the Finance Committee have any questions?
No.
No.
Nope.
So a motion to recommend Department 750 debt service, the amount of $5,997,195 from taxation. Is
So
there a
moved.
motion?
So
Second?
moved.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? So account 750 is recommended 6-0.
Thank you.
Let's see. So this is account, the next one is account 992, which would be health insurance
You want me to take that, John? This is Mary.
in the amount, is the amount still $6,600,000 even for account 992?
Yes, that is correct.
All right. Yeah, could you, Mary, please explain?
Yep. So there was not an email for health insurance. The schedule, it was in your original FinCom binder under tab number 27, which was the annual transfer to our health insurance trust fund. And this, while we had originally put the budget together with the hope or anticipation that we would be able to increase our appropriation, what you will see is that this appropriation for FY21 is level funded from FY20, and this is our annual appropriation to cover our health insurance for all of our employees. And I think, again, for those of you who have been on FinCom in years past, you know that we're self-insured. We offer a variety of health insurance programs to our employees for which they pay a share. And this is our annual appropriation to cover the costs of providing that benefit to our employees.
So this covers employees, which includes teachers, is that correct?
Yes, it includes all employees for the town.
And it includes retired employees who are still covered under the town plan?
That is correct.
Okay. And this is the same amount as last year. We approved $6.6 million, correct?
That is correct, yes.
I'm sorry, we recommended 6.6 million.
Yes.
Anybody on the finance committee have any questions for account 992, health insurance?
Will we be making adjustments in November when we find out what our first 4 months are like?
Well, so there's two ways to answer that, Joe. The first is we'll see, because it depends on what our performance looks like, our history. But one of the other items that we also need to vote tonight is Article 27, which also affects this health insurance trust fund. So based on this appropriation that we're asking for here in the operating budget to be funded by taxation, we're also asking for a transfer to the health insurance trust fund from free cash as a one-time transfer to the reserve to ensure or to help offset any impacts going into FY21.
Okay.
So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions from the finance committee? Motion to recommend account 992, $6.6 million from taxation.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Account 992 is recommended 6-0.
Thank you.
I have Article 16, which I don't think we voted yet, and that's the Commission on Disability, and I don't have any information on Article 16 at all.
I could speak to that, John, if you'd like. This is Dan.
Please.
And I'm going to defer over to Beth, who's on our Disability Commission and actually is the one that was pushing to get this article on. Beth, do you want to take that?
Sure. John, what this article does is it makes it so when there's fines for parking in handicap spaces or any fines that deal with handicap and disabilities, that we can put the money into the commission's account and use it to help pay for things such as details to go out and look to make sure that people are not parking in handicap areas and things like that. So we need to, according to our town council, we need to adopt this so that we can handle the money that way.
You know, just to add on to that, we had a study done, we received a grant to have an architectural review of the barriers that we have throughout town, sidewalks. We just got some grant money actually for sidewalks and other issues. So those funds theoretically could be used to help address some of those recommendations that were put together, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years ago.
Is there an estimate as to potentially how much would be funded into this account in an average year?
Yeah, it's not a lot, John. I'll tell you that it's less than $5,000.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the Finance Committee?
No, the other thing I'd like to say about it is it will self-fund policing of it. So during busy seasons like Christmas or other events, back to school and stuff, I notice when I go to Stop and Shop and Market Basket, there are several of those parking spots always have somebody in them without a sticker or a plate. Normally, I would, depending how busy the day shift is, they should make it part of their patrol every day to check these handicap spots, both in the north end and the south end. That's all
Any
I
other
got.
comments or questions?
John, this is Mary. I'll just add for you guys. The town already has a revolving fund established for the Commission on Disabilities, and that particular fund has a balance of $776 right now.
Okay. Is there a motion to recommend Article 16?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor of recommending Article 16, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So Article 16 is recommended, 6-0. I think Article 27 is next, transfer to Group Health Insurance Trust Fund.
Right, so that was the article that I was just referring to, and you had received a handout from me from an email over the weekend that looks like this. And the request is for a transfer of $300,000 from free cash into our group insurance trust fund. And it was based on the conversation we just had a few moments ago.
So I guess I do have a comment for that, and I'm not in favor of this transfer because I don't have an accounting of the actual trust fund. I don't know what the balance is on a full accrual basis, so I'm uncomfortable making a recommendation for transfer to a fund that I don't have a full accounting for. So I would not be able to vote to recommend this transfer without that information.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, this is Mary. Would it be okay if I could just speak to that for a moment?
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. And so I think as the Finance Committee saw, John had a series of questions regarding the group insurance trust funds that had come out over the past course of the last couple of days. And John and I had an opportunity, and I thank him for that, to speak over the weekend to sort of talk through some of those concerns and questions and gain an understanding of what the town currently does in terms of handling the accounting for this particular trust fund, as opposed to the full accrual accounting that John is familiar with and is looking for. John obviously has a great deal of experience and knowledge on this subject matter, and looking for the full accounting, which means accruing all of the expenses and or revenues that are applicable to health insurance. I think what I would say is that in the past couple of health insurance is, because we're self-insured, is sort of a, it can be a volatile type of expense for the town. There are years where we have really good years and we have low expenses, and there are years where we don't. And we always pray that our employees are healthy and our retirees are healthy, and we don't incur large expenses. But sometimes those things happen, and so what we are asking for is a transfer of $300,000 as a one-time transfer into this particular trust fund in order to ensure that we have sufficient funding available in the event that we have some of those years that are a little bit more expensive than others. And in the meantime, John and I have had conversations, and we have agreed to continue those conversations, work together to provide the level of detail that will get that calculation that he's looking for. I know in years past it has not necessarily materialized, but I'm committed to working with John and some other resources to make that happen.
Yep. So my only comment is that 300,000 could actually be there right now, and we wouldn't know, or we wouldn't know based upon the analysis that I would like to see. So I would have to see that before I would vote to recommend.
Is this something we could deal with in November without a negative impact between now and then?
I would be open to that. I think that we could handle that, Joe, if that's what you prefer.
Well, I think it would be more satisfactory for John, and it gives you some lead time to bring us up to date as probably through the end of September or whatever. I know there's a lot of lag on medical expenses from the medical profession. I mean, I get bills that are 9 months old from them, and it'd be the first issue of the bill.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure it affects our self-insurance problem 100-fold.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Beth is shaking her head. She would most assuredly agree.
Actually, if I got it 9 months, I'd be happy. I've got them a year and a half later. So 9 months, I'd be thrilled.
So Joe, I'm actually trying to calculate that amount as of June 13th, 2019. So.
Wow. Okay, we're here behind.
So I'm looking back for a full year. So I should be able to get the exact number 12 years beyond the date. Everybody should have billed, within 12 months.
Yeah, unfortunately, John, my personal experience is every once in a while there's a wild card, and it usually comes by way of Medicare.
Yeah, and there's a full report on that, and the stuff that comes in the months 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are pretty small dollar amounts as they relate to the town's overall spend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to work on that. Ideally, we would have it before September. Is that right, Mary?
I think we can commit to doing that.
Okay.
Yep. So if it's the committee's preference to defer this to fall town meeting, I don't think that we would have an adverse impact right now.
Okay, because that fund is a revolving fund anyway, right? So, it just rolls over year to year. I don't think we're going to spend $6 million between now and September. At least I hope.
Well, it's actually it's a trust fund, right? So it's a little bit different than a revolving fund, I think.
Exactly, John. I was about to jump in and say that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But it works on the same principles, right? It goes from year to year without having to. It would not go as an unpaid bill if something went wrong.
Right. It does not have a hard closeout like a general fund does. Right.
Yep. Very good. Thank you.
So how does the Finance Committee want to handle Article 27?
John, this is Kelly. I think it's fine to wait until the fall, especially if everyone feels that they would have more information to make a more informed decision. And Mary's saying that we could have that information. So I'm comfortable waiting until the fall.
Yeah, but I think, Dennis, could you correct me if I'm wrong? I think we actually, in order to do that, we would have to take a vote and vote not to not recommend Article 27. Is that correct, Dennis?
Or we could pass over.
Yeah, you could make a motion to pass. We'll pass over it. So as opposed to not recommending, we'll agree to pass over it and take it up in November.
Okay, is there a motion from the Finance Committee to pass over Article 27? And
so moved.
Second.
is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor of passing over Article 27, aye.
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 Opposed? So Article 27 is passed over. Thank you. Just so everybody knows, when I go quiet like this, I'm actually just writing notes for what we just did. I'm sorry about that, but
No, that's not a problem. That's fine.
based upon my notes, that's all I have. I think everybody knows that the school budget accounts 300, 303, and 302 have been moved forward to a future meeting.
I have that for Articles 14 and 15, the capital and non-capital outlay.
Yeah, I don't have anything in my notes for action items on that tonight. Mary, could you help us on that?
So there are, I had the same question as well, Tina. So there are no items that we are bringing forth under either of these articles, but I did not have a note that you guys took a vote to pass over.
That we did not yet.
Okay.
So is that right? We don't have, we're not, Dennis, we're passing over 14 and 15 at town meeting?
Correct. We have nothing to present.
Okay, then I don't think we have to, I don't see why the finance committee would have to vote on passing over if there isn't anything that's going to be presented. Does everybody agree with that?
Yes.
Fine with me.
And I also have on the Article 1 for the travel expenses at the 58 cents a mile. I didn't know if that's staying the same.
Oh, yeah. Is that the same 58 cents as last year?
You know what?
58 cents was last year.
Hang on, I can look it up right now.
Mary, is that the number that we should be recommending?
Yeah,
for
so you know what?
fiscal 21?
So the IRS, so what we were trying to do is make sure that we are aligned with the IRS mileage reimbursement rate. And what I am showing here is that they still have their 2019 rate posted at 58 cents. So I don't see a change. Let me see if I can find the 20 rate. Actually, let's see. The IRS standard rate went down to 57.5 cents, 57.5. So,
Is there a motion to recommend 57.5 cents per mile for employee business expense reimbursement?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed. So 57.5 cents is recommended and approved by the Finance Committee 6-0. Thank you.
John, this is Kelly. Do we have a firm date when the schools are going to be coming in? I'm just getting very concerned because we have to have the booklets all proofed and ready to go to print basically right after the election. So we are so under the gun. It's kind of not funny at this point.
So Mary, when do you think we would have final numbers?
okay. So what is happening in terms of the school department, they have a school committee meeting scheduled for tomorrow night. I believe it's at 6:45, where they will be taking their budget up one last time, and they will be taking a look, and we will have a final number from them tomorrow. Once we have that number, then Tina and I can continue our work on the budget books. But we do have, and Tina and I have been in contact with one another as well as with the town clerk to make sure that we are meeting all of the due dates that we need to meet. We all know that this is going to be a sort of 11th hour production process. But what is going to happen, or what makes the most sense to happen, is that Tina and I will work together to prepare essentially 2 budget books. And the difference between those 2 is simply going to be Article 1. And the reason that we need 2 budget books is because it's dependent upon the results of the election on June 9th with the override question. So we will be preparing Article 1 without the override, the budget numbers that will be voted from the Board of Selectmen, this evening and the school committee tomorrow. One set of numbers for Article 1 that would be without an override, and the other that should the override pass the election, that the other set of numbers would be ready to go. So based on what we will need is for you guys to schedule another meeting so that you can meet with the school committee and make a recommendation on their budget so that we have the number to put in the booklet without an override. And then what we will do is simply add the 1.5 million to it to have the number for with the override. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
And to be clear, Kelly, we asked the school committee to hold off. They're revisiting some things tomorrow night. We've got some major budget issues that we have. Selectmen are going to be meeting at 7 o'clock and going over some budget matters, and then we'll be presenting all of that to the committee at your rescheduled meeting in one comprehensive email, or I'm sure Mary will put together something very comprehensive that addresses all the issues that we have and everything that we'll be looking to trim from the budget. So we'll be amending quite a few of them, but school committee not being here tonight was something that we had requested so that we can get everything together and make sure that we have a balanced budget moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
So does that mean we would be not only voting on the 3 school line item amounts, but we would be revoting some municipal accounts also?
That's correct, John. We'll have some municipal accounts for you to revote, and the selectmen are actually going to be acting on those at 7 o'clock. So 7 o'clock tonight. So we'll have those for you pretty quickly. I think we'll have all the information out. Mary, we should be able to provide it on Wednesday morning, all right?
Yep, we will be able to get that information out to you guys. And I just want to remind you that we had talked about this and about this set of reductions that needed to be made to the FY21 budget. And what I will give to you guys is a worksheet that summarizes it by department. And we had talked about having the finance committee, rather than revote every single budget department that's affected, to take a look at that list and to potentially vote that list in its entirety, so that Tina and I would then apply those adjustments to the individual budgets. So it's up to you whether you want to revote each department individually or whether you want to vote them in its entirety.
So I don't have any preference. How soon could we potentially schedule a meeting and revote the numbers just to keep the process in the book, towards finalization and printing and being ready for the town meeting?
Personally, I would prefer if you guys could hold the meeting no later than Monday.
Yeah, I was thinking could we do it would it be helpful to do it this week?
If it works with everybody's schedules, then I think that would be appropriate.
I'm good anytime this week.
I am too.
I usually have stuff going on at night because I deal with companies in other countries, but if we do it early at night, I'm pretty much open 5 or 6 o'clock, but I generally have to be done by 7.
Okay, I could go earlier.
I can go earlier. I mean, we can do 5, 5:30, 6, whatever's most advantageous, so that everybody can attend.
Okay.
I am at DPW till 3:30, so I don't get home till 4 o'clock. So this week, next week I go back to 4:30. So this week is still 3:30. I can do anything after 4 o'clock.
Okay. So if you could come up with maybe 2 different days at like maybe 5:30. If we have to do it 6, we can, and we can try to do it earlier if that helps everybody get,
Now, would this be
everything
for the
finished.
school department as well, or just?
I would hope we would do all the numbers for school and municipal.
Yes.
I
Is
think the
that
question,
doable?
I think Tina, I don't want to speak for you, but I think your question was, are we scheduling the school to come in and meet with you?
Yeah, because it'll basically depend on them when they can meet with us.
Yeah.
Well, I
that
mean,
makes this-
if they give us the numbers, I mean, might be able to vote unilaterally on the numbers because the numbers are going to be, what they're going to be. There's nothing's going to change that except the override vote. I mean, if we're in agreement with the numbers they send us, there's really no need for them to be there. If we're really crunched up for time.
I can tell you that the superintendent has been incredibly flexible with his schedule, so I would imagine that he would make an effort to, if you booked for Thursday or Friday, something along those lines, we could certainly try to reach out to him and have him available.
I think
Okay.
we really
Yeah,
want,
let's try to do that.
Why don't we shoot for Thursday? Did I give you enough time, Mary? Because they're
Sure.
meeting Tuesday. Okay.
Yep.
Thursday is probably the best option too, because Friday they have the big graduation parade that a lot of the school admin are involved in. So that's going to take a good chunk of time Friday for them.
So Thursday, I have to be done by 7 o'clock Thursday night.
All right, let's schedule for 5:30.
Okay.
That work for everybody?
Works for
Rob?
me.
And,
Okay.
and in the event that it doesn't work, could I suggest that we try for Monday at, say, 5:30, if that works for everybody, just to have a backup?
All right, it's fine. I mean, it's always good to have a backup. While we're on the subject of schools, is there any reason why we can't vote on the vocational school budget today? Because that's not going to change no matter what. And that'd be one more thing out of our way.
We could, but that will only take a minute. We couldn't. I prefer we do all the school items at the same time. But that number is not going to change, Tina. I think you'll be good using that number, right?
Okay.
And Monday night, I do not have a conflict.
Great.
So I'll get a agenda prepared tomorrow and send it out to Proof. And it's just basically going to be to go over the school budget numbers and the remaining, actually there's no remaining articles, so just the school budget numbers, I believe.
Yep, the account 303, 302, 300.
And the changes that we're going to have to possibly
Right.
have the accounts for this fiscal year.
Right.
So when you post a notice of the meeting, you may as well post Thursday and also, if needed, Monday for everything that's on the same agenda.
Yeah, and just include potentially various changes to Article 1.
Okay.
Is there anything else, Tina or Mary or
There is
Dennis?
3 sets of minutes waiting to be approved.
Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of March 9th, April
Yes.
Yep.
21, and May
Yes.
4?
Yep.
Yes.
Motion to accept and approve the minutes of March 9, April 21, and May 4. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The minutes for the 3-minute meetings are approved, 6-0.
And also, I'm going to work tonight on the Word document version portion of the recommendations booklet that has Articles 6 through 31. I've been chipping away at that, and it's in pretty good shape. I'm going to plug in the vote from tonight on the remaining articles, hoping to get that out to everybody later on tonight. At least if we could try to get that portion proofed so that we can know that that Word doc can be put away, and then we can just work on the Article 1 spreadsheets that are going to be time consuming, but I'm going to try to get Articles 6 through 31, the Word doc, over to everyone tonight. So then hopefully we'll have time to proof it before Thursday, and we can go over if there's anything I need to change by then. But I just want to verify for the articles that we went over tonight that we said where no action on, the Article 23 and 25, no action, and 13 and 11, no action. Am I putting no action at this time, or am I putting passing over?
I think you can leave those blank if the town moderator is going to call to pass over.
Okay.
So for the finance committee, you would just leave it blank.
Okay, no recommendation by the finance committee, or?
Right.
Okay.
Dennis, does that sound okay?
Yep, that sounds fine, John. You could even put a sentence in there, the finance committee took no action as they were informed the article will be passed over. So a short sentence like that, and we can review that with Tina, but at least it explains why there's nothing there.
Yeah, could you add that to each one, Tina?
The finance committee took no action at this time?
Yeah, as they were informed, the article would be passed over.
Okay, perfect.
Are there any other items for tonight's meeting?
I'm good, that's all I have.
Anybody have any comments or questions before I call for a motion to adjourn?
Only for Mary, I'm sending her my email. She can attach it to her mass mailings.
Will do. Thank you, Joe.
Okay, a motion to adjourn the meeting at 6:50 p.m.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting's adjourned at 6:50 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Everyone.